old is that book? But unique in this day and age. They saw the potential and they jumped on full throttle, and they have lives, they have families, and they decided to put time aside for this Overcomers Project. So many people dedicated their time and effort to making this happen officially, not just happen. This thing is very official. And it's because of those people who did this. We started in a different format in which we were actually going to do a radio podcast, an audio podcast. If you guys are old school, you remember something like Unshackled. We wanted to do that, but with an Isaiah 58 lens. We also wanted to do the podcast as I'm doing right now. We wanted to do both of them at the same time. I was over ambitious. I wanted to do all of this, and we had everything just about ready to begin. And don't you know, right about then, I was hit with another bout of the D word. And the thing that was the most upsetting about that is that I had people on board with me who were fully motivated, who were fully willing to give their time and effort. And here comes the D word messing everything up. And I felt super guilty because it's like I'm wasting their time. I'm not motivated, and it just became a standstill. Well, it fell off completely, and I did have little spurts where I wanted to, start something, and I couldn't quite get it together because of depression. And I was so upset, so upset, so upset, because I'm always telling somebody, hey, I'm ready now. And then, this happens. So it's really hard to explain again, because not everybody's going to understand. And for those that do, I beg God for a special blessing on them up to now, because it's not easy to watch somebody start something and stop something when you yourself putting your 100% effort into it, and that person is holding up your show. It's kind of not a cool feeling. So I'm kind of looking at it from that point of view, and it used to mess with me, and I would always say that I'm going to do it, and again, it was, seeing my mother, she had a situation where she didn't look the same, and I had to see her, and that messed me up, to see her in a light that I've never seen her before. But I mean, even that, I think, is something to talk about, how to live and become the parent to your child, to your parent, who becomes the child, in a sense. That is one of the most difficult things to have to deal with as a human being. And for those of you who have dealt with it, God has blessed you. There's no way that you deal with that and you're still alive other than God. It's not an easy thing to see your parents deteriorate slowly. So that played on my mind, and, depression was doing its thing. I want to, off of the top of the head, give you reasons why I got out of depression. And it had a lot to do with God's unmerited favor. Because as I'm going through depression, he's blessing me in ways that don't kind of make sense. God is giving me things like a raise. I mentioned some of this on my Facebook post on why I'm thankful. He's giving me a raise while I'm going through depression. He's giving me a new place to live while I'm going through depression. While I was at Tacoma Park, I was going through depression deeper because of my living situation. I was living in a refugee project. The people who were taken from the border and thrown into housing facilities, I was bamboozled into living there, and I was kind of stuck there for a year. And that was a low point on top of everything else I was dealing with. God said, that's enough. I'm going to get you out of there. He got me out of there and got me really close to where I work. Not only that, he gave me a car. I used to take 2 buses and 2 trains to work one way. And he, I guess, said, that's enough. I'm going to give you a car. I had my expectations of what I wanted. God was like, no, I'm going to get you something way better. And he did. While I'm going through depression. I mean, God has been amazing since the past year and a half. He's been doing some weirdly amazing things. Come to the fall, God decides, okay, I'm going to get you a boo. And I think that's the thing that knocked depression out of the way, was not just having a woman, but having a real woman, real love. And, we have our issues, back and forth. We called it quits, started over, called it quits, started over. But every time that we started over, just like my life, it got better. So God has been, it doesn't make sense how good he's been, while I was going through depression. And those unmerited favors are, I believe, what pulled me out to the point where I can actually finally begin this Overcomers project, because that boo that I have, she's a powerhouse of encouragement and motivation. And she poured into me without me asking, and just didn't ease up with it. And she wasn't hard. She was very gentle on how she encouraged. She didn't beat me over the head. She just gently reminded me. And those things add up and destroy depression. So that actually, I think that was the power blow that actually caused me to get out and actually start this thing properly. So that's the long version of it. This whole project, it's a focus on Isaiah 58. And what I intend to do is to touch on different aspects of my life, and notice that it's not just my life that was impacted, but there are other people going through things. I have a West Indian background, though I'm born in America. So I'm raised with a certain culture understanding. And I now see that a lot of the things that I was raised on were good, but there are also a lot of things that were not so good that I began to see the need to unlearn, because they were toxic, straight up, and because they were mentally not healthy. So I am using this project to not just focus on my culture, but focus on the world, because there are other cultures who can relate 100%. And I want to dig into those cultures. I want to start with home. I want to start with the Black diaspora. That's intentional. This is a project for the entire world, but I want to start home first, because